All right, everybody. So, intro to rationals. Rationals, what we're talking about this week. Rationals, in the terms of Algebra 2, is basically talking about fractions, but not only fractions, fractions with variables in the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so we've got variables on top, which is not that unusual, and on bottom, which is a bit unusual. Okay, we're definitely not used to seeing variables on the bottom. Now this handwriting is terrible, so bear with me here. But the idea is we are going to be working on simplifying rationals all week. And so when we're working on simplifying rationals, we need to understand the basic rules of when are you allowed to simplify a fraction and when are you not allowed to simplify a fraction. Okay, so if we look at a really easy question, I'd recommend that you write this down. Okay, let's say we've got a question that is like 20 divided by 6. Now this is not an Algebra 2 question. This is maybe more like a 4th, 5th, 6th grade question. We need to reduce these fractions. And we want to kind of think about what does the top and the bottom have in common that we can take away from both. It's kind of like GCF in a way. And one way to think about it is that 20 would be 2 times 10, and that 6 is 2 times 3. And you see, because both of these have 2's, what we're able to do is reduce this and say the top has a 2 and the bottom has a 2. And so, the 20 is gone. The 6 is gone. Now what we have left is 10 on top and 3 on bottom, right? And a lot of you guys could do this in your head. Say 20 divided by 6 is the same thing as 10 divided by 3. Because it's just simplifying by 2. It's kind of a piece of cake. But you want to keep that in mind. And we'll come back to this example to talk about why we can do this. What we're going to see something like this week is something that looks more like this. Maybe x plus 2 divided by x plus 2. So let's talk about this one. What is x plus 2 divided by x plus 2? What do you think? Nope. 1. Anything divided by itself is 1, right? Yeah, so this is literally just x plus 2 divided by x plus 2. It's the same thing. They cancel out. It's a 1. Okay, so we want to keep that in mind. Now, here's where I'm going to make it a little trickier. Okay, and I'm going to have maybe a more difficult example here. What about something like x plus 6 divided by x plus 3? Okay, so this can be definitely a trickier question, right? We struggle with the combination of these two things that we know. If it's the same exact thing, it cancels out. If it's a number that we can reduce, we can kind of be nitpicky here, okay? But here's the main thing you want to keep in mind, okay? Anything that is added together, and because of that, subtracted is the same way, right? Because subtraction is just adding a negative number. Anything that is added together gets locked together. Okay, so we say that these two things are locked together. Okay, and down here, same idea, right? These two things are locked together. Okay, because there's a plus, we cannot take just the x and just the x away. We cannot do that because it is locked to the 6. Okay. We cannot say, maybe 6 and 3 with a 2 left over. We cannot say that because they're locked together. Okay, this is the biggest thing that you have to keep in mind this week. This is like the number one new thing you have to learn with rationals. If there is a plus, these two things are locked, and in order to reduce this, you would need to see something like this, x plus 6 in the denominator. Okay, now we have 3 different things that are locked together, A, B, C, but you can notice how A and C are the same thing. And so now we would be allowed to do this, okay? And what that also is telling you is that if two things are multiplied together, like this times this, you're allowed to break that bond, okay? So if two things are multiplied, you're allowed to take parts of them and cross them out. If two things are added together, you cannot split them up, okay? And that's why we're able up here to say, this is a 2 times 10. We're able to take just the 2 away because this multiplication is a breakable bond, right? We're able to say 2 times 3. We can take just the 2 because we're allowed to break that bond there, okay? If we have a question like this, let me get rid of this one. There is nothing you can do to this question. Okay? This piece is locked together, this piece is locked together. You cannot simplify these two things. Okay? Now, let's make, another example really quick, and this will probably be a piece of cake to you guys. Okay? Let's say we have x plus 5. Let's say we have x minus 2. We have 2 times x plus 5. Okay? And we want to make this fraction look nicer. Okay? So we need to cross out anything that we see in the top and the bottom. Is there anything that you can see in the top and the bottom that is the same? Right. This piece right here, which is locked together, and this piece right here, which is locked together, the entire thing and the entire thing, they're going to cancel out and they're going to make 1. So they're basically just going to disappear. Is there anything else that we can get rid of? What about this 2 and this 2? Can we get rid of those? Why not? Yep, because this is locked together and we cannot take just one of them away. Okay? And so this is done, right? Our answer would be this is gone, this is gone. What is left over here? It would be x minus 2 is left over on top, 2 is left over on bottom, and that's it. You can't get rid of these 2's because that 2 is locked with the x, okay? Again, this is like the number one new thing you have to learn, okay? I'm going to give you guys a bad example, so make sure you don't copy this without writing this down, right? But this is bad. Here's what I'm going to see, okay? I'll see something like this, and I'm just, making up random questions here. Right? This will be a question on the homework, and somebody will come in the next day and their paper will look like this. Cross out those, cross out these, maybe they'll even cross out the 4s, and they'll say, you know what, the answer is 11. Now, hopefully this looks cringy and terrible to you because it is cringe, okay? We do not like this. This is bad. That is not what we're doing this week, okay? You have to not be this kid. If you avoid that, then 80% of this week is going to be factoring, okay? Because what you'll probably realize is that if we can't do this, but we can do this kind of thing, what if we took this question up here and we factored it, and I'm going to factor it really quick because this is just a really fast example, x plus 2, x plus 3. Trinomial with the shortcut, plus 2 plus 3 makes 6, it makes 5. Plus 2 plus 2. Right? Shortcut factoring multiplies the 2, multiplies the 4, adds to make 4. And now that we've done the factoring, we have, A, B, C, and D, right? We've got 4 different things. And we're able to recognize, okay, well, this piece right here, well, that's a terrible color. This piece right here is the same as this piece right here. Cross them out. The final answer would be x plus 3 over x plus 2, okay? Now, of course, if there's one of these, you don't get to cross out both of them on bottom. I'm sure you guys are comfortable with that. That's kind of an Algebra 1 type of strategy, but this is about as difficult as it gets for this first day of learning rationals, okay? Factoring and then crossing things out. That is really the only 2 steps we need to learn how to do today. And so most importantly, what are you allowed to cross out and what are you not allowed to cross out, right? This is now good, right? This process right here, this is good. Yeah. I mean, for the most part, this is what it is. All right, that is the introduction to simplifying radicals. One of the biggest things is just make sure you know what are you allowed to add and what are you allowed to subtract and what are you allowed to multiply, and most importantly, what are you allowed to cross out, because that is what is really our number one goal.